Greetings and welcome to our daily walk through Holy Week. Today is Thursday, also known as Maundy Thursday. Now you might wonder where the term Maundy comes from. Well, it actually is translated to mean mandate or command. And the reason why it's called Maundy Thursday is because Jesus gives a new command to us in this. Now your readings for Maundy Thursday would have included Matthew 26, verses 17 through 30, Mark chapter 14, verses 12 through 26, and Luke chapter 22, 7 through 23. And each one of these gives an accounting of two events of significance. One of them is the Last Supper, and the other one is when Jesus goes to pray at the Garden of Gethsemane. And at some point in that evening is when Jesus is arrested. So we had the day of rest yesterday, where we don't have anything recorded in Scripture, but we're going to call it a day of rest. Likely Jesus was preparing himself for what was about to come. Much like the pause is now over, and we get the command first from Jesus, John chapter 13. A new commandment I give to you, you love one another. Just as I have loved you, you are also to love one another. This was part of the conversation that Jesus had with the disciples during what we now call the Last Supper, then was just simply a Passover meal. Now remember, Passover, the significance of Passover is found all the way back in the story of the Exodus, when the people of Israel, then they were Hebrew slaves, were told to place a sign of blood above their door so that the angel of death would pass over them while it went to go kill all of the firstborn children and animals within the kingdom of Egypt. And this was the thing that caused the Pharaoh to finally let Moses take the Hebrews out and to leave. And so Passover was something that was celebrated from that point on. And now here we are, thousands of years past the original Exodus. And now they still continue to celebrate it in the Jewish tradition. And it's a very important day. They do it on Thursday night because Friday night is when Passover actually begins. Remember, the Jewish calendar goes from sundown, begins the day, up until sunset. All right, so that would be considered a day. So they do it on Thursday so that on Friday they're not doing any work as they get ready for the Sabbath on Saturday. So Jesus is there, and of course he gives the Last Supper, and there are significant things that happen during the Last Supper. Obviously, we get what we now know as communion. We learn about the sacraments there when Jesus talks about the bread representing his body, which will be broken, and the wine representing his blood, which will be shed for him. We have that. We also have Judas leaving the meal to go and betray Jesus and go find the Pharisees and the Sadducees, the Sanhedrin, and go and let them know where Jesus is going to be. So we have that significant thing that happens. We also have Jesus washing the feet of the disciples, once again demonstrating the servant Messiah, the servant God that he is, and how he desires to continue to serve us. So the disciples and Jesus finish up this supper, this Passover meal, and they then proceed over to the Garden of Gethsemane. Now, this is an area just outside of Jerusalem, so it wouldn't have been far. It would have been just an area, a hilly area, wooded area to go and pray. And Jesus went off by himself to pray, and several times Jesus came back to his disciples, and they had fallen asleep. Now, we don't know why they'd fallen asleep. They were obviously tired, yet they must have sensed that something was wrong with Jesus. Jesus was obviously very weighed down with a burden. And as a matter of fact, Peter had noticed it during the supper, and Jesus said, I go to be sacrificed. And Peter said, no way, not going to do it, not going to happen. And Jesus' response was, I tell you this, Peter, before the rooster crows tomorrow, you will have denied me. And sure enough, Peter did. Not once, not twice, but 3 times Peter denied Jesus and said, I don't even know this man. He was very vehement about it, and sure enough, the rooster crowed. So we have a lot of things that happen here on Maundy Thursday overnight into what we term as Good Friday. So as you read these chapters and read these sections, I want you to consider what weight Jesus must have had. I mean, think about this for a minute. Jesus knew exactly what was about to happen, and yet he went anyway. He knew he was about to endure incredible amounts of pain, and yet he chose to do it anyway. Why? Because his love for us was greater than the pain that he was about to endure. Okay, that's it for today's conversation. Tomorrow we'll speak on Good Friday.